choice. Many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Experts. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Each week we have different experts. Our expert tonight, actually we have two of them tonight. The first half of the show is an attorney who I did not realize how busy he is and how busy he's going to be, because he is an estate planning attorney and people are freaking out all over. And I think he's probably getting a lot of calls for wills. And Paul's been with us for almost a year now. So let me introduce you to attorney Paul Labiner. Hi, Paul.
Hey, how are you, Steve? It's so nice to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been since January.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
how
a while
long it's
since.
been.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while, but it's wonderful to see you, my friend.
It's good seeing you. I love doing the show with you. And I think tonight, you just brought it up. Something I didn't even think about is you're probably getting a lot of calls, people wanting to look at their will.
Well, that's true. I mean, one of the unfortunate aspects of this pandemic, forgetting about all of the economic and health issues that unfortunately we're confronted with, and in my opinion, we're likely to continue to be confronted with. It's really, in some respects, given everybody somewhat of a wake-up call to say, hey, now that I've had this extra time to kind of reflect, what will in fact happen? God forbid something happens to me, both in terms of my death, and in that regard, people are looking and revising and considering their estate planning and distribution plan, but also during their lifetime. I mean, I will tell you that many people have not really fully comprehended and considered the implications of what this pandemic has actually done from the standpoint of a living will or a healthcare surrogate. Everybody wants to designate somebody as their agent, to make medical care decisions and so forth. But do you want to be on an incubator? Do you want to be intubated? Most documents have not really even considered or even incorporated some of the unfortunate circumstances that we're confronted with today. So
what about do not resuscitate?
And also do not resuscitate. I mean, that's certainly at the end stage of an individual's life. But I will tell you that, my living wills and healthcare surrogates are going through some major revisions because of this unfortunate set of circumstances, because people are saying, well, number one, do I want to be in a hospital? Because there's many people, that just don't want to go to the hospital. And I understand that. And I think as time goes on and as we have a cure or a vaccination, I think people's mindset, will differ. But in the meantime, if it's not this pandemic, God knows what's going to happen in the future. It's a crazy world today. And you need to be aware of what your documents state and how you want to address those issues. So in the event of those unfortunate circumstances where you do need, additional care, number one, are you going to go to the hospital or are you going to stay there? Or if you don't even have a will, that's a totally different set of circumstances. So I've been getting.
Before we go any further, I want, because there's a lot of new people who are joining the show for the first time. Explain to everybody what an estate planning attorney does.
Sure. You always like asking me that question, Steve. And
I
I
love
keep
that.
telling you, it's not.
Because there's so many different areas. I mean, there's
Well, it
elder
is.
law, there's probate.
And I keep telling you, I don't like using estate planning. I like using family planning.
Family
Because
plan,
I think
okay.
family planning, because you know why? That's what it's all about. You know, people have a negative connotation as it relates to the estate planning because it's only dealing with the death. And although that's certainly part of what I do in terms of trying to develop a cohesive, financial blueprint to make sure there's an orderly and efficient distribution of assets at the time of passing, there's many during life legal issues that people need to be sensitized to. So my approach to estate planning or family planning or wealth transfer planning, more specifically, is to take a more holistic approach and look at the totality of the circumstances of the individual. Look at their concerns, both for themselves and their loved ones, and develop a financial blueprint that makes sure that those assets are not dissipated due to a dissolution of marriage or to a creditor or to a divorce. That the issues regarding health issues and their concerns regarding, the issues that have presented themselves as a result of this pandemic are addressed in terms of what their subjective considerations are. Some people, I will tell you, this is very subjective. Some people want to continue to be on life support for the rest of their lives, without any consideration of quality of life considerations. And then I have another universe of clients who are much more concerned about the quality of life considerations and don't want to be hooked up to an incubator and don't want to be hooked up to a ventilator. And, and we have the ability today to be able to make some of those legal determinations of what care you would like or not like. So, so my approach is much different.
What's really amazing, Paul, is they just came out with a third of the deaths have occurred in nursing homes. And we are getting some just horrific stories about nursing homes.
Well,
but not here in Florida.
Well, as we were kidding around, earlier on in the meeting, in the radio show today, and that is that I've been quite busy, and I've been quite busy, and the reason for it is because people have become much more sensitized. I have lots of clients in nursing homes or soon to be in nursing homes, and they're scared, like many of us are scared. I mean, fear is, rearing its ugly head. And we have a lot to be afraid of. It's not only our medical issues, but it's also our financial issues. And, my hope is, in terms of how I approach this engagement, is to try to allay some of those fears. So if I was to say that, part of my responsibility is to take those fears, take those trepidations, take that anxiety that people have in terms of, the what ifs, and try to at least, mitigate that. I can't eliminate it, but certainly I can mitigate it, with proper counseling and with proper documentation to address a multitude of different issues that they might be confronted with. But the nursing home issue is one that's quite sad, unfortunately.
Paul, do you see yourself having to lay out more of a plan, especially now what's going on in the nursing homes? Because usually you go to a nursing home, usually the last thing you think about is a virus out there that you could die in one day and be unprepared, even if you're in a nursing home.
Well, I think this pandemic caught everybody by surprise. I don't think we were at all prepared, either from a medical standpoint or a financial standpoint, to deal with the unfortunate circumstances that this pandemic, presents itself. It breaks my heart when on occasion I'm driving around and I see cars lined up for a mile or two, and they're opening up the trunks of their car and they're looking for food. It truly breaks my heart to see that, the implications of this unfortunate set of circumstances has had a tripling effect, from medical to financial. and everything in between. We've all been affected. My job as an advisor and a counselor is at least try to address. I can't put money in people's pocket. I can't get them a job. That's not, as much as I would like to, I can't do those things. But what I can do, is that I can give them peace of mind that should they be confronted with an unfortunate set of circumstances regarding their health, or should there be some, unfortunate circumstances regarding their family unit, or should there be some unfortunate circumstances where they passed away, that they have a cohesive plan to address those issues. That peace of mind I can provide for you.
What kind of calls are you getting?
Well, I'm getting a lot of people that are looking to review their existing documentation. I think what has happened is that as a result of, people having a little bit more time on their hands than they did previously, they're now saying, well, maybe it's time to dig up that old will that, that Paul did or some other attorney did, or I did online, and see if their circumstances have changed. And more often than not, the type of thing that you and I are talking about is not the type of thing that people enjoy talking about. People don't like talking about their death. People don't like talking about, the unfortunate circumstances, if they need, additional medical care, and who's going to make those decisions for them, and what medical decisions they're going to make. So it's not a pleasant conversation, but in some respects, the pandemic has been a positive, at least from the standpoint of people becoming a little bit more sensitized and a little bit more aware of, the things that they should really think about. And as a result, when they do start looking at those documents, not only have their family circumstances changed, tax laws have changed, and some of their even personal goals and objectives have changed. So the documents that they had 5 years ago, or certainly 10 years ago, needs to be reviewed and reevaluated.
And now, Paul, they're talking about this fall. I mean, I'm just going to say what the experts are saying. This fall could be even worse.
That troubles me. I have a personal opinion about, how things are progressing. I'm not sure I quite agree with the opening up of, the states as we've been seeing them. But, I understand it's a balance between, the financial and, the medical issues, and what that comfortable balance is. I just hope that there are smarter, more intelligent people than you and I, Steve, quite frankly, that are analyzing the data, that are making some intelligent decisions, that are putting together the necessary, protocol to make sure that we can get back to life in a more comfortable manner. Certainly more comfortable than we've experienced the last couple of months. I'm not sure that we're going to get there, but that's certainly my hope and prayers.
Well, my Renee's daughter is autistic, and she's basically responsible for her. And her worry is, God forbid, what if something happens to me? Where she's never really given that much of a serious thought. So we're going to go to break. First of all, give everybody your phone number.
Sure. Again, my name is Paul Lavener, conveniently located here in Boca Raton, Florida, just on Federal Highway, just north of Yamato. Please give me a call. I can be reached at 561-998-2362. Again, that's 561-998-2362.
And please don't take this the wrong way, but if you do not have a will, you want to give Paul a call tomorrow. I mean, at least have a will, because who knows? I mean, but give him a call. He's such a wonderful attorney to work with, as you can see by his personality. And I'm so glad we have him. We're going to get more into this when we come back from break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The law office of Paul S. Labiner has been providing quality and cost-effective legal advice to professionals, businesses, individuals, and families throughout South Florida, New York, and New Jersey for over 3 decades. Their mission is to provide personalized service which ensures that you, your family, your business, or your assets are safe and protected. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today, 561-998-2362, and let him begin the creation of a financial blueprint in conformity with your needs, desires, and concerns. It took much effort and hard work for you to enjoy all that you have today, so it only makes sense that you implement strategies to protect and defend it. The law office of Paul S. Labiner, PA, is a reputable law office nestled in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida, that is dedicated to providing you with personalized legal services that meet the specific needs of your family. Attorney Paul S. Labiner designs estate plans that ensure the most effective transfer of wealth, implement policies to mitigate income and estate taxes, and draft wills and trusts to maximize your family's wealth. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today at 561-998-2362.
And we are back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7. I'm your host, Steve-O. Our attorney here, Paul Labiner, has been with us for almost a year now. He does estate planning, which includes wills and probate. Also includes elder law. They still use that word, elder law?
Yes, Steve, they still use that word elder.
I didn't think it. For the last 20 years since I've been in this business, and they're always making changes. So now, if someone calls you tomorrow morning and they ask you to look at their will and review it, how do you do that? Do you use Zoom?
Well, it's interesting. That's a great question, and I think the nature of how I'm going to be doing business in the future is going to be quite different than what I've been accustomed to. It took me a while to get accustomed to a new format like Zoom, where I'm actually conversing and having a meeting and counseling individuals via my computer screen, versus the more personal touch that I frankly prefer in a sit-down meeting. But I think it's turned out to be quite fruitful from the standpoint of being much more efficient. People don't have to travel. People like the idea of being able to see me and discuss with me their personal circumstances. I can share documents, which is kind of nice, on my computer screen as we're discussing. And it gives us the opportunity to be able to, to get to know each other, especially if it's a new client, where they can ask me questions about myself and my background, and more importantly, where I can, get some of the subjective information that's the key to this process, because that's really the key. It's not so much, the creation of the documents. It's really finding out more about the family unit. What I've also done, interesting, that's quite new in the state of Florida, and I suspect that there are not many attorneys that I even have the authority to be able to do so, is that I am now authorized to notarize documents via online and via a Zoom meeting. So, there are certain formalities that need to be followed in terms of effectuating the not only the drafting of documents, but the execution of documents. That allows us to become more efficient, even using the technology that I think people are becoming a little bit more accustomed to. So the day of, actually sitting down and meeting face to face, I think is still going to hold true, but I think it may be a little bit different. It's probably more along the lines of what you and I are doing today, Steve, rather than sitting across my conference table.
I'm upset I'll never be able to shake your hand again.
Well, that may be, and that's unfortunate. So the world is changing, and I think the world is changing in terms of how we're doing business. I think the world is changing in how we're advising clients. I mean, I had a telemedicine, conference with my physician a few weeks back. And is that efficient? It was a little different. I like to know that he's touching my heart and listening to my heartbeat and doing all that other stuff, but I guess this is, a new thing that we all need to be accustomed to. But, I find it efficient. I find it cost effective. I think it's, another way. I'm sorry, Steve, I just lost you there.
Do you like it better?
Do I like it
Doing
better?
business?
No, I still, I'm old school. So I
Right.
guess, for me personally, I like to see somebody. I like to shake their hand. I like to, get, have that personal connection. But it's it's the wave of the future, and I don't have much of a choice if I want to continue to help people in their planning.
What about the
But it is
courts?
different. Well, the courts the courts right now are closed.
They're
So
closed.
unless it's unless it's a criminal matter, I can't even go into court. Which is interesting to note. In terms of and I think I might have shot you a note in terms of when you go through probate, you need to go through the court system. Now the court system, for the most part, although it's closed from the standpoint of actually physical connection. I mean, I can still file papers. The court, the judges are still there. So it's not like the legal system is closed down, but it's not nearly as efficient as it used to be. It's taking things much longer than they have in the past. And that's something for people to consider even in the future in terms of, the transfer of their wealth. Again, a will does go through probate. So that's a much more timely and a much more expensive way of transferring assets. A revocable trust that you and I have talked about on numerous occasions on the show avoids that. So, we can eliminate the process of needing to go through the court system. And if we're confronted with a situation like we're confronted with now, we can have a much more efficient and orderly distribution of the assets, even at the time of death.
So, Paul, we've only got about 3 minutes left. This is the fastest 30 minutes I've ever seen. So there's people who are being furloughed or being let go who have health insurance. What will those people do now?
Well, that's unfortunate, but there are a couple things that people should be aware of that may assist them in meeting some of their cash flow needs. The federal government has done its best in terms of trying to make concessions to businesses and individuals. But if you do need some additional monies, one of the things that I'm suggesting to many of my clients is that if you have an IRA, transferring that IRA from a regular IRA to a Roth IRA may make some sense today. Why? Because they're going to be in a lower tax bracket. So if you're furloughed, your tax bracket is likely to be much lower this year than maybe in future years. Well, if that's the case, maybe it makes some sense, to take this unfortunate set of circumstances and turn it into a positive. How can we turn it into a positive? Well, we can turn it into a positive because we do have the ability to transfer IRA assets or pension assets or 401k assets that you might have had with a previous employer and have transferred into an IRA to transfer it to a Roth IRA. There's a big difference between the Roth IRA and the regular IRA in that when, number one, there is no minimum required distributions. Number two, when you do take distributions, those distributions are tax-free. So if you've been furloughed and you need some money, and you may want to, do this in stages, but you may want to look to the IRA and convert that to a Roth IRA, so you'll have much more beneficial benefits from that IRA in the future when your tax situation is much different.
So if people have questions, give them your phone number to call you tomorrow.
Absolutely. People have questions regarding, any of these issues that we discussed today. It'd be my pleasure, without any cost, without any obligation.
And he means that. He means that.
I want you to understand that, I'm trying to help first. And yes, I do get paid. I get paid quite well for the work that I do, but that's not my motivation. My motivation is to help you first. And if I can help you, and then You'll know exactly what my fees are and so forth, and I'm very fair on my fee schedule. So please give me a call at 561-998-2362, and I'd be delighted to speak to you without any cost or obligation. And if I can help, I'd be delighted to do so.
Paul will be back with us again next month. I cannot believe how fast the show went. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about next month. Take care, stay safe, and I love you, bro.
Love you, bro. God bless everyone. Please stay safe.
God bless.
Take care.
We're going to go to
Bye.
break. When we come back, we'll have our urology show.